Hello and welcome to the Coaches Lounge with yours truly, Barbara J. Beckley. We are here again for a wonderful, amazing interview with a wonderful, amazing guest that's going to be talking about what they do to be what I always say, a lighthouse to the world. I created this particular show 3 years ago. I was just talking to my wonderful guest a minute ago because I wanted to make sure there was a platform out there that people will listen to the stories, the experience, and basically tips from the experts that are helping you out as a coach or consultant or a mentor. A lot of times they don't get the love like they really should. And I was looking and I was searching. I was like, okay, is there any kind of podcast or maybe TV show or anything that's lifting them up? The people that are lifting you up, are you lifting them up? So I said, I didn't really see any. So what they always say, when you don't see anything, create it yourself. That's what I did. I created the Coaches Lounge. So within the Coaches Lounge, you get to meet the experts. You get to meet the people that are like rooting for you when you're like down and out and you're like, I don't know if I can do it. And the coach's like, no, you can do it. I believe in you. I trust in you. So now you get to hear their stories, first of all, on how they became what they are. And then also giving us some experience, some advice, some, like I say, golden nuggets to move us to the other needle. So today we have a wonderful special, and you know I always call the ladies queens. And this particular queen, I've been knowing her for a while. And I always tell her, I said, I've been watching you. You are amazing. And we know each other from another organization called the Toastmasters and with the Toastmasters International. And she is just rocking it. I knew when she was rocking as a leader in the organization, I said, well, let me see what she does in the outside organization. Blew me away. Miss Elizabeth Hutson. She is a change management specialist, inspirational communicator, and a keynote speaker. And let me put tabs on inspirational communicator. She can inspire you if you are down and out, if you're like on your last whatever. You talk to her for 5 minutes, you'll be like, okay, well, I don't know what I was feeling. Thank you so much. And you'll walk away really feeling your best. And she just gives so many lessons learned. So with that, I'm not going to be taking up the stage anymore because I want to make sure that you get to know her story, know what she does, learn from experience. And then I'm going to give you an action item. Yes, I'm starting off at the beginning. I want you to reach out to her and get to know her. And then maybe there's something that she can help you with, or you might know somebody that she can help. So this is what it's all about when you come into the Coaches Lounge. So after this video, we'll be right back to get to introduce and meet this wonderful queen. And we are back. If you're just tuning in, you are at the Coaches Lounge with yours truly, Barbara J. Beckley, with another wonderful, amazing spotlighting experts in their field to give advice for life and in business. And we're spotlighting these coaches, consultants, and mentors because I feel like they need that platform. So first of all, you can get a chance to know them, what they went through and who they help. So Liz, Queen, thank you so much. I've been waiting on this interview. Thank you for just coming in your time today.
Barbara, it's so nice to be here. This is great to have this conversation with you. I've had such a good time the last few years getting to know you and getting to know what you do and just being enlightened by your energy and all that you do to lift other people up. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be on tonight.
Oh yes, the opportunity is mine because we've been doing each other like that too. Because when I first met you, I was like, wow, she has something. You know, when you just first meet a person sometime and you just see that spark, you see that energy and you see the fuel in them and you know that, okay, they have something that's a gift that is going to just help a lot of people. And you do that. So I want to give you your flowers now and tell you how amazing you are. So with that, coming on the Coaches Lounge, this is a chance, like I said, to get to know what you do. Being that, like I said, that lighthouse for the world, that gift that you have in you that's really helping others and your expertise. So before we start, I know I always ask people when they come on, what would they title the show if they came on? Because this is your show when you think about it, because we're getting to know you. And you said change without losing your mind.
It's true. We go through change in every facet of our lives, don't we? Whether it's at home or it's at work or life, it's just all the things that we go through. And it sure does feel like we're losing our minds sometimes with it. But I think there's ways around that and navigating how we get through change. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love because, like I said, I told people that you're, a change management specialist. I know you work in the area of kind of helping the healthcare industry and navigating through mergers and acquisitions. Now you think about it, those are some big changes and structure changes and everything. So I know that you have to be probably the pulse, like everybody's kind of like, and you're probably like, okay, I can see you doing that. It's going to be okay. We're going to work through this.
Yeah. Exactly. When it does feel chaotic, and all of us have experienced it ourselves, and sometimes other people are experiencing that. And when you go through that and you start to learn those different nuggets that help you walk through those things, you start to build a little bit of a toolbox, right? You start to build, hey, I've seen this situation or a version of the situation before. We're going to get through this. It's going to be okay. And being a little bit of a steadying factor through that is what I try to do.
Yeah. And you always have to I always tell people, and I've been learning this, for a lifetime, that getting all kind of, oh my God, is not going to get you to the results that you need. You need to have that steady brain and say to yourself, okay, let's walk through this. And people are like, well, what's going on? We're about to lose jobs. We're about to do that. Okay. So you always have to be that like referee in a sense. I kind of think of it as too.
Yeah.
So with you, I wanted to start off because I always like to pull the curtain of people's lives and say, how did you get started in this before, you became this amazing, this change management and then doing keynote speaking too and being motivated for others?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. That story is a fun one for me. It started off, I guess you could go way back. I studied chemical engineering. That's what I did when I came out of high school. That's my background. That's my training. Started off in corporate setting at Bristol Squibb in process engineering. So that's where I got my healthcare debut. And I had a chance to experience what was it like to take something from a small scale and build it up at a bigger scale in a manufacturing type setting. My job was to help with that scale up. Fascinating process, not only the technical side of things, but also getting a chance to see, hey, these products that we've spent months, years developing, how do they help people? How do they change their lives? How do they make their health situation better? That was my first foray into it. I moved back to the Chicagoland area, which is where I grew up. And I took a job with another big corporation called Cardinal. And I started off also in process engineering in the thermal healthcare space. And it was hot and cold products that help people that are, have an injury or something where they need heat or cold therapy. And the process engineer for that, loved it. But I think as I started to do each of those roles and I was doing more with product development, I liked the technical side of building the product, but I loved the side where I was going, but how does it get used? And why did they do that in the first place? So I started to get curious about that, ask some questions about, so how does the marketing team figure that out? What questions do they ask? That curiosity led to a shift in what I did, and I moved into marketing. And so my shift from engineering to marketing was not a small one, but one that really fit me very well. And I spent a number of years in marketing and really just understanding and managing my business, but then also really focused on innovation. So how do we build new products, new services that help serve others? That was a really great several years. And then I got what's called a Lean Six Sigma black belt. So I trained as a black belt, and that's essentially a focus on both quality and efficiency. So when you pair those things together, how do you make something with really, really great quality, but in an expeditious and a smart kind of way? That's effectively what that is. And I trained as that. I got those tools. I spent some time as a black belt at Cardinal Health. And then I came back into the general business as the director of innovation and marketing. Spent my last couple of years at Cardinal Health as the director of innovation and marketing. And in that role, while I did spend a lot of time in product development and coaching businesses on how to do that, one other role that sort of came into it was almost a little bit of an internal consultant. So as special projects came along and there was things that we needed to figure out, my background of engineering, marketing, the Lean Six Sigma, all sort of mishmash together, gave me a nice cross-functional background to be able to help people with that. So that's what I did for those last couple of years. And that internal consulting sort of just put a little bit of a bug in my ear of like, maybe consulting would be an interesting route to go. And so when things changed a little bit within the organization, I thought this might be a good time for me to consider something different. And that was almost 15 years ago. I started my consulting business, and that's what I've been doing the last 15 years. And that's a bit of my story to get to consulting. Then at that point early on, what I started to see was there's a lot of change in the kinds of things that I'm doing. And everything that I had done up until that point, I didn't see the through line at the time. But when you're changing how you do a process, how you interact with something, and you go from the old product to the new product, that's change. When you are optimizing how you are setting your manufacturing, saying whatever that might be, you are changing from what it was to what it is. There's all kinds of changes that I experienced myself and that I helped others through. And then when I got into the consulting role and I was spending a lot more time in the private equity space, and there was a lot more with mergers and acquisitions and integrations, I found myself in the center of that. The very first project I had was closing down a facility, a manufacturing facility, and setting it up in a different location, actually in Mexico. And there was a lot of change that came with that, a lot of heartache that came with that. And so we sat with those changes and talked about the team's feelings and where they're at, starting that. And I think that's important. You mentioned, sometimes when we go through change, it feels like, oh my gosh, this is so chaotic. And and I think it's important to say, yes, we're going to move past that. But first, let's sit in those feelings because they're hard, right? They're hard. And if we don't process those feelings and go, this is sad and this is hard and I don't like this, and you just kind of brush past that, it's hard to get in tempo and in momentum with where you need to go.
Yes.
And so that was the beginnings of that. And every single project since then has been some variation of that theme, whether it's technology transfer, manufacturing location, to facility or to organizations, to businesses coming together, to structures, people, processes, all these things coming together or coming apart. Me and my team, we help with supporting that change.
Well, first of all, congratulations on saying, okay, I took all my transferable skills that you learned from the chemical thing to being in the marketing perspective and then going through your journey and saying, you know what? Now I'm going to have my own. See, that's when the big step happens too. It's one thing to be in the organization as being, consultant or a marketing director or whatever title. But when you say to yourself, okay, now I'm ready to go to that next level and having my own company and my own consulting, but you bring so much experience with it, lady, that I see that was the next step anyway. I mean, it's just kind of like, okay, this is it. Okay. Yeah, I need to get my own thing going on. And with that, you learn through project management, through, like you said, consulting part, the marketing, even the health part of it. I didn't even know that you were like, in the chemical part way at the beginning at an early age. Wow.
Yes.
I don't even know that about you. See, it just adds more. It just adds more. And see, this is what I love. That's why I love so much doing these interviews, because you find out so much about, a person that's consultants, that's helping others. And then when you get the stories behind it, I always tell people, see, now you would really want to talk to this person because you see that they have experience. You see the passion that they have. And, you know, through all the time you were talking about what you went through, I can see the passion in every aspect of it. Oh, and that just makes it even better, because you know how some people do things. Yeah, I've been working in this. Yeah, I've been doing it for 25 years. And you know, you'd be like, dang, isn't there any kind of spark there? If you don't really like it that much, why are you still in this? You know?
Yes, yes.
But with you, it just flows, and you're like, you know, just from one, you know, flow to the next. And I know if people work with you, they will get that experience as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think the piece along the way is curiosity. I think has been a really big central theme for my life. And that is, hey, that seems interesting. Let's learn more. It's not, I've never done marketing before, so I'll never be able to do marketing. Right? It was, that looks interesting. Let me ask a few questions. What can I do to prepare myself to get that ready? Never done consulting before. I never knew what consulting was. Can I do that? Should I do that? Let's give that a try. It's curious. I'm curious in it. Let's give it a try. And I think that idea of, hey, you know what? We just have one life to live, right? We have one life to live. And so why not, right? My feeling is that if there's some level of intrigue or interest, there's a curiosity about it, go for it. I think it's such a great thing to go. The worst that happens is it doesn't work out. So you go back to doing what you were doing before, try something different. But I always want to think of myself and the people that are around me. What can we do to step into that next thing of curiosity?
You know, the other thing, like you said, the curiosity part of it, I just want to go back to, which really made sense, is when you said that when people are kind of like alarmed when you're dealing with them through changes, yes, and they get, you know, all over the place, and you say, okay, let's sit in this first.
Yeah.
Let's take a moment with this, because it's a process.
Yes.
And you don't want people to just jump into, you know, because you know that they're feeling a certain way, you know, they're dealing with something. So I like, you know, you being that change management consultant, you're saying it's okay to yell out. Maybe it's okay to say, oh my God, what's going on? It's okay to say, I'm about to lose my job. And, you know, I'm just using examples.
Yes.
And then from that point, you can deal with them. You can work on things with them.
That's right. That's right. And the nuggets that you uncover in those discussions, I think, are so important, right? Because some of those things, sometimes you're changing away from what that is. Sometimes you're changing and you're bringing that along into a new space. And I often think when we don't do that exercise and we don't uncover that rich goodness of the historical and the feelings and the experiences that they went through, we shut all that out. We start with a brand new, fresh page. Sometimes there's good reason for a fresh page, but oftentimes there's a lot of really good stuff that's there from before that you want to mine and protect and bring it forward with you. And you don't have those conversations and you just step all over that, mm-hmm, or close your eyes to that and go, forget about that. Let's move on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. We lose some of that rich history. And I think it's important to mine that and bring it forward.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Now, I was going to ask, on a typical day, like say you have a company that you're working with, where you are working on navigating that change for them, you know, be it acquisitions, mergers, or what you do. What kind is the first thing that you like when you come to them and, you know, start that process for them?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. So when we are approaching any kind of change, it's an understanding of where we are now, right? Let's understand our here. And let's talk about the there. I always use that framework. Let's talk about here, what worked, what didn't work. Why do we want to go there? And okay, let's talk about there. Describe to me that ideal future state. What's so good about that? And then once we anchor on the there, we want to do everything to keep that front and center. I always talk about start with the end in mind, right? That's like when you can keep that forefront, and every step, every meeting, every project, every presentation that we have is in the direction of there, everything has context. And the their vision is also something that when we sit with the group that is afraid, they're sometimes excited about the change. Sometimes they're they're numb. They don't know what to do with this. But when we hear where they're at, but we can get them to rally around the future state there. We go, this is why this is going to be so much better. Or here's what we have to look forward to. This is how it serves our customers. Here's how this makes your life better, more efficient, whatever that might be. But when we can anchor on that picture, that everything has context, every hard thing that we have to push through, every meeting that we have to have in service of this has context.
I love that. I love how you create that foundation for them, so in the expectations, so they know how to maneuver through that. And that's why you're there. That's why, the consulting and what you do is so important, especially in those situations, because those are not really a fun conversation sometimes, especially when you're talking about acquisitions and mergers, and you don't know what's going to happen, and people can lose, like I said, lose jobs, or companies can go away, they can move to other countries. I mean, it can be a whole lot. Yes. So I like how you come in with that foundation and then build from there and ease people's minds in all aspects. Yeah.
Yes. That's what I hope that they come away with, that they feel supported, that they feel like they were listened to, that their voice is in that pathway as well. I also think that's important as we cast a picture of the there that sometimes is developed by leadership, right? And in the beginning, that's a starting point, but it can be reshaped and reformed with the team's input, right? So as we cast this vision, they might go, you know what might be better, or might make that even more impressive if we did this, this, and this. And we just make a little tweak, a little adjustment to that. And everybody wins from that because you're listening and you're hearing what they have to say.
And one thing I love what you're doing too, Liz, is we're corporate office where I work at during the daytime with everything else that I do. I always tell them, every person that's included in this, and have those conversations. See, a lot of times they might just talk to IT people only, or just upper management only. And I'm like, you need to bring everybody together, especially when this is going on, so you can get a sample of everybody, their thoughts. Because you never know, a good conversation can come from somebody that's been doing customer service.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I love how you do that. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and a lot of times, sometimes I hate to say, I'm going to just be honest, it doesn't happen that way. And then when they make changes and then we're down there like, well, if you would have talked to one of us,
you would have known differently, right?
Yeah. We could have told you, maybe that might not work in that capacity. Maybe we could have told you that, no, you might not want to go that route,
Exactly.
But I like how you bring everybody in and you want to listen and have that listening ear, an active listen that you do with people to see, okay, if we do it this way, well, maybe they have a good idea over here or over there. So I love how you do that.
You're right. Yeah.
Amazing. Now, one other thing I know with time, oh my God, see, this always happens when I have good conversations, the time goes too quick. But I just want to ask you this. And I've noticed this even in my life, because I know you are a wonderful keynote. I look at you as just a professional celebrity speaker. That's what I look at you as. I'm putting you in that box. Not a box though, it's a big box.
Yeah.
And how does that really help? Because I know for me, doing the speaking too, we're both in the speaking aspect world, it helps within what I do, my daily jobs or even my business. How does that help in your capacity?
Oh yeah, Barbara, I was just having a conversation with a colleague of mine just this past week, and how valuable, how critically valuable communication is. You could have a great idea. You could have all these onesie-twosie little conversations here and there, but if you can't cohesively put that idea together and share it in a compelling way that is not about me being on stage and look at me, but meets you where you're at, inspires you to do a thing, motivates you to take action on that thing that's in your head or the thing that you're scared about, that's where the power comes. And I realized that very recently. Communication is something I came out of the womb. I want to be on stage and I want to be talking, and I want to be singing, right? Like that's just how I came out. And I just thought that was just, I don't know, something that I did, or I didn't realize what a superpower that is. I mean, I truly didn't realize how fortunate I am to enjoy that. And because I enjoy that so much, have invested a lot there and spent time there, how helpful that's been to me in my business, in my interactions with my family, my friends, in the community at large, and Toastmasters. And the more I invest in that, the more I feel like I'm growing, I'm getting better, but more importantly, the more impact I have, right? So those ideas of change, that idea of let me empower you to do the thing that you need to do. And now I have a stage and a platform to do that, be it in a keynote fashion, be that in training situations, whether that be workshops that we do, or even one-on-one or small group meetings. That keynote speaking communication abilities was something that I realized, wow, I have to do something more with that. It was something that was just a little part of what I did every now and again in my job, corporate job, at church, at, in various settings. And I was talking to my husband a couple of years ago, actually just 2.5 years ago. I said to him, I think I want to make this a much more serious part of my life. I think I want to do more of this because I come alive. This is something that I'm passionate about. And he said, you should do that. Why wouldn't you do that? Right? I'm curious, and like, go have at it. And so I did. I took the first step by stepping into Toastmasters. And that's how I started that process. And little by little, I was really working on my craft, right? Working on my communication and saying, how do I make this better? And how do I put myself in very uncomfortable situations on stages I've never seen before? And get practice and get feedback and work on making this better and feeling vulnerable and humble to take that feedback and go, maybe what I thought was right wasn't so right. Let me make some adjustments. Wow, that's better, right? And doing more of that. So I found the value of that to be not just in consulting, but in a lot of different spaces. And I'm so grateful that I recognized that I had a husband and a group of friends and family that really encouraged that and helped me step into that more and more.
That is just so important, Queen, is that you have the support from your husband, from your family. I know you have some wonderful children too. And, those are times when you have to, like you said, you're working on that craft. And there's time that you have to put yourself to the side and not be there for a minute. And they understand that. So with all that sacrificing that you do, it's showing up in a wonderful way, not just within, like I said, the Toastmaster arena, but outside where you're doing your consulting business and where you're talking to people. Like you said, I always tell people, when you're communicating, if it's a one-on-one with somebody or if it's a whole audience of people that you're talking to, you always need to make them feel like, they're there. They're a part of what you're talking about. And that's why when you speak, I love when you're talking, because storytelling is the key.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of good experience where you can tell that to people and they're like, oh, wait a minute. I dealt with something like that. She really understands me now. And that's how you get that understanding with your, with people that you work with, people that it's in your business, is that when they see the connection there, you go from there. It's like you soar after that. Yeah.
That's right. It is. It makes those stories. You're so right, Barbara. Makes everything so much more relatable, right? People are captured by stories. They come into that space that you're in. They feel the emotions, they feel the journey. But then, like you said, they go, I see myself there. I've been there. I've done that. And then the lesson that comes out of that is far more impactful, because it's not a point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, right? It's and then this happened to Sally and she felt sad. And then this, and you're like, caught by the story, right? And I am too, right? I certainly love a good story, and then what that means for me and how I change my life going forward.
Yes. And like you said, the relatable part is if you can relate to people, they start to listen even more because they lean in more, because now they feel like, okay, they're a part, Barbara or Liz is a part of my world now, because they understand, they've been there. When people start talking and I said, you know what, if you talk about your story, I got a story for you too. And then I start talking about it and they're like, really? Well, I always see you doing this and doing that. I can't believe that you did, So I love that when comes out, because I feel like now we're closer and the trust part comes into play. And that's really needed when you have your own consulting firm or any business. You have to gain that trust from people. So when you can get that relatable, and then they can trust you, and then you can work with them even better. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Definitely. Well, Liz, I told you I could talk to you for a while. I just love this conversation, but I want to make sure that any lasting thoughts you have for the audience. So I'm going to take myself down for a few seconds, and then I'll come back up, and then we can let everybody know how they can contact you. I'll be right back.
Thank you. Well, friends, it's so great to be with you today. I'm just honored to have this platform to share. I think change is hard. Change can be hard sometimes, and it can be isolating. It can be scary. And sometimes we need to take a moment and feel the pain that we're in with that change, and feel the emotions that come with that. Acknowledge that is a fine place to be. And there is a here, there is a there. There's a there that is beautiful, and it's positive, and it's exciting. And we can journey there together, and we can help you with those changes that you're experiencing, be it at work, be it at home. And if there's something that we can do to help you out with that, I just love to be a partner to you, love to inspire you to take that first step, and then the next step that comes after that. I'm just honored to be here today.
And I am honored for you to be here. So everybody on the screen, as you can reach out to this wonderful, wonderful woman, Liz Hutson 17@gmail.com. She is in LinkedIn everywhere. She does a lot of information videos. She's always speaking in different places. She's talking about her consulting firm. So there's no way you can miss her. And I always tell people, if you're like, well, I still don't remember her email, or where can I go? Call me. I know where she's at. I always tell people, I don't have no problem having information for you. So if I can help bridge that so you can get to Liz, then now I can do that for you. But Liz, this has been amazing. I always tell people, you are always, always welcome back. If anything new is happening in your life, if you want to, anything that's happening, I just would love to bring you back and spotlight whatever that is.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you. Just such a tremendous opportunity here. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. And again, everybody, this is the Coaches Lounge. So make sure, if you are a coach, consultant, or mentor, and you want to get spotlighted, people know what you do for others in this world. Like I said, lighthouse to the world. We are all lighthouse to the world. And we bring individuals in so we can help them out so they can be a light to the world. With that, if we spotlight experts' advice for life and business, remember, you have that gift in you. Just let it shine. And we will see you at the next Coaches Lounge. Take care.